What's going on, everyone? We've made it to the season finale of MobLand, season 1. And again, like I've said before, and I'll keep saying it, is this is probably one of the better shows that's on streaming right now. If you don't have Paramount and you don't want to get it, I'd say get it. If you haven't gotten a free trial yet, get the free trial, binge the show. All the episodes are out. There's 10 episodes in total. But I think overall, it's just a pretty good show, pretty good drama, pretty good conclusion. I enjoyed last episode, but I was kind of worried they wouldn't. I don't know if they would. I mean, I've enjoyed the show up until now, but with some shows they're just really good, and the ending is kind of meh. I think the season finale really was really good. They wrapped some things up, set some things up in a good way, kind of a satisfying way. I will say, I'll talk about it more later, but I think Ritchie's death wasn't as satisfying as you would want it to be. But yeah, again, I'll talk about that later. The episode starts with Kevin, and he's sitting in Rusby's kitchen after shooting him, and he's Rusby's just dead. He's just sitting there, just dead on the table, and Kevin's just like ranting to him about like trauma dumping about all the personal stuff in his life, and basically revealing, apparently last episode it was revealed, I missed it, but Eddie turns out is actually Conrad's son, because Conrad and Bella, who was Kevin's wife, had an affair, and Kevin kind of knew but not really. He said that he kind of knew but didn't want to know, just because, again, that's just messed up to find out that your own dad and your wife like were having an affair behind the scenes, and the son you've been raising for all these years is not even your own blood. So I imagine for Kevin that's just so fucked up. But killing Rusby and this revelation is what really sets him off to his new motivations, want to take over and to run the family business. He even sees Conrad in prison and even tells him as much, tells Conrad that he's washed up and that he doesn't know anything that's going on, and that it's time for him to take a back seat because Kevin Harrigan is going to be a name that's going to be known. And yeah, it'll be interesting because I feel like they had a pretty regular father-son dynamic. They weren't like the closest, but they weren't like Brandon and Conrad, where Kevin even says this as much. He's like, Brennan was your son, and all he wanted was you to acknowledge him, and you didn't even do that. So for them to completely have this rift between them now that Kevin has basically told Conrad off and is basically saying that he's, coming for him, and that in this world that Kevin's going to create, that anyone that does something wrong is going to get punished for it. Because next season it's going to be just basically, it's going to be Kevin and Harry versus like everyone. Conrad and Maeve are going to be against them. I'm sure Harry's gonna want to try to keep the peace, but I'm sure he's gonna get caught between the Kevin and Conrad beef. And also at the end, like towards the end of the episode, Harry meets with Kat McAllister. She offers him a job, basically she wants to collect all the marbles of the Harrigan family and take them all out. And that's basically what she wants Harry to do, 'cause she's like, you know everything about them, so you do this and you'll get paid and you'll have a lot of power, a lot of money. And he basically says to fuck off. He doesn't say that, but he says that, his loyalties lie with the Harrigans and he's not going to betray them. He says that Kevin is his friend, and then that they can deal with Maeve and Conrad with whatever they do once they get out of prison. And then Eddie also finds out from Maeve, because he goes to visit her in prison, and Maeve reveals to him that Conrad is his dad. And this, obviously, same with Kevin, just completely like upends his way of thinking. And so now that he's basically, we didn't really see the full conversation that they had, but I'm guessing Maeve told him that he's like the heir of the Harrigan family now. So now he's gonna have an even bigger chip on his shoulder. I mean, in the last couple of episodes, he looked kind of depressed. He looked kind of lost. He was just like, I don't even know like what's even happening anymore. But I think now that they told him that, he's got this new sense of purpose. So now he's gonna be even more of an asshole. He even like confronts Bella about it, and she, confirms it, and she like hugs him, and she's like, saying she's sorry, and he starts to like strangle her, pulling like a penguin move where he starts to like choke her out, and yeah, he starts to strangle her, but then Zosha and Kiko show up and stop him before he can do that. I thought Eddie was gonna die this season, but I guess they're saving that up for next season or whenever. They're gonna try and build him up as this like Joffrey kind of character. Obviously not the same, but just like a young man who's given a lot of power they really shouldn't have, and then they become like these arrogant tyrants, and they just become obnoxious and annoying, and you hate them. So I feel like that's what Eddie's going to be doing in like the next season, or however many seasons that they have of this show. And last episode we heard that there was a rat in the family, and we found out that it was the family lawyer, O'Hara. Harry's like questioning her, asking about the relationship with Ritchie, asking if like she was the one who went to him or if he came to her, and like what information he knows and what she's told him, and what businesses she's involved in. At first, Harry's like, yeah, you can go, man. Like, yeah, whatever. But eventually, he uses her to like set up a fake meeting. Basically, he has her go to Ritchie. She went to Ritchie claiming that Harry was onto them and that she's like in danger, and basically sets up like a fake meeting saying that like these people will be here and these people will be here at this time, and basically misdirected Ritchie so that he sent out all of his armed dudes to these different locations, and they had guards waiting. Like Paul, the security guy, was waiting at O'Hara's office, and he like blows them up once they get inside the building. And then Zosha and Kiko were at the cabin where everyone's hiding out, and they take out all the dudes. And Kiko does die in this part, which I thought was kind of stupid because he was going around, he was shooting all the dead bodies to make sure they were dead. But this one guy, he goes over to him, he like kicks the gun away, and he like pushes the body over, and the guy's still alive. And he like shoots Kiko in the throat and like kills him. And I'm like, dude, I was like, that was kind of stupid because like, you were just putting bullets on all the other guys' heads, but then this one guy, you decide not to, and then you die. I just thought that was kind of silly. But and then Kevin and Harry show up at Ritchie's place. He only has a couple armed dudes. They take him out easy. They go inside his little office area, and he takes O'Hara gunpoint, puts a gun to her head, and they don't give a shit. They just shoot right through her to get to Ritchie. Because obviously, like, she's the rat, so she's obviously not going to survive. So Harry was using her, obviously, to set this up, and was using her to use Ritchie so that they could easily get this close to him. And then Kevin takes him out, shooting him in the head. And he says, you know, he could have come up with something cooler to say, like a better catchphrase or something. And all he said was, he goes, "The Harrigans say hello." It shoots him. I was like, okay, that's the best you can come up with, but you know, whatever. So Richie's dead. There's the end of that. Earlier, Colin and Alice meet up, and he gives her a bunch of money, saying, you know, like, good job on completing the mission or whatever. But then he's also like, he basically gets her, he gets her killed. He gives her the money, but then these two dudes show up and take her away. Well, first they chloroform her and knock her out and drive her away. So I don't know why they didn't just shoot her on the spot. They're probably driving her out somewhere, and then they're gonna shoot her and like bury her or something like that. But Alice got taken care of, and I don't really feel bad for her because again, she was just using Jan, taking advantage of Jan, putting her in even more dangerous situations to get to the Harrigans, but again, you know, endangering her and Gina in the process. And Jan finally, you know, all the emotions come out. She explodes on Harry, saying that, you know, her and Gina can't take it anymore, that she's done with all this, and she's cutting carrots or something when she's like doing all this, and like she ends up cutting her finger, and Harry tries to help her, and she like pushes him away, but without even thinking, she's still holding the knife. She like stabs him in the chest, but she stabs him on like the right side, and the knife was pretty small, so like he's gonna be fine. Yeah, she kind of stabs him in the chest on accident. It was just kind of like a quick misdirect. I was like, there's no way they're killing him off this way. Like, you're not killing off Tom Hardy. It's like, what are you gonna do for next season? Not have Tom Hardy? Like, there's no way. And then after that, the season ends with Conrad. He's either walking out of prison or he's just walking to somewhere else in the prison. All the other prisoners are like cheering him on and stuff. So I'm guessing he's like getting out of prison, because Kevin and Harry also have a like recorded evidence that they got that they're gonna use to get Conrad and Maeve out of jail. But yeah, so overall, it's just a pretty good season, and again, just a slow burn. It is 10 episodes, so it is a slow burn for some of the episodes, but it was a good build up, you know, a whole 10 weeks of waiting. You know, there are some times where you're like, I just want to binge a show just because I'm enjoying it, but the wait is good. It gives you time to process things, to think about it, and I think you enjoy it more. So I think, you know, I can't wait for next season. At first, I was like, with all these stars and stuff, I was like, is this really going to be a multiple season show? But yeah, it looks like it. I thought it was gonna be like a one and done kind of thing, but yeah, I'm curious to see if season 2 can, you know, live up to season 1, if they can, you know, keep the stakes up. I'm guessing Kat McAllister is gonna be like the main antagonist for the next season, so Harry's gonna have to deal with that. Kevin's gonna have to deal with Conrad and Maeve, and yeah, again, just one of the best shows on streaming right now. If you have Paramount Plus, I'd say check it out. I'd probably give this season like a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the show. I mean, I really enjoy Guy Ritchie just in general, and you know, his flavor is on the show, you know, a lot. And I enjoyed Tom Hardy, of course. He's probably one of my favorite actors right now. So overall, just you know, can't say enough praise about the show. I'd say check it out if you're, you know, into the if you like Guy Ritchie's like quick and quippy, you know, dark comedy kind of stuff, or if you just like Tom Hardy or, you know, Pierce Brosnan. But yeah, let me know down below what y'all think about this season. Did you like the season? Did you not like the season? Let me know why. Hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.